Alright guys, so I'm going to come at y'all real quick with a short little video just kind of talk about a little bit. So, I'm not sure if everyone knows, but just a few years ago, I think it's actually been close to about 6 years now or so, but there was a huge thing that happened in the video game industry that kind of changed the way a lot of your normal everyday gamers thought about things. And that would be this little guy here. This is the OUYA. I was one of those people that was one of the ones that got tricked into, well, tricked probably wouldn't be the right word, but I was influenced to buy into this idea that all games should have a free trial period or a free demo or something like that, instead of always having to jump right in. You don't really know anything about this game. You've seen a couple of trailers. Now you got to pay $60 for it. And broke boys like me, we can't just throw $60 out every time that we have interest in something. So, as much controversy as what was surrounded by it, I believe the OUYA kind of revolutionized that thought process behind gaming. Now, you see, and I'm probably going to get put on the slaughter for this one, but as much as you see hate for Ubisoft has a whole lot of they'll run specials and stuff where you can do trials of their game, or you can get a limited version of their game or something like that to get you into it, so your first experience is not after you just paid, 50, 60 plus dollars for a title. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in and see what the OUYA is up to in 2020. So we got that all booted up and everything, and another thing that I really want to talk about is the OUYA controller. So, if you're not familiar with the OUYA, this it predated the PS4 and the Xbox One, but this little area right here, this area was actually like a trackpad, a mouse, and my personal opinion, and I feel like that may have influenced the PS4 controller, how it has the little touch sensitive pad right here. I mean, look at them side by side. They're not necessarily similar, but that trackpad feature, I fully feel there is a connection. Also, have this cool little player indicator up at the top. Kind of flashes all four of them when you go to turn it on, and then it tells you if you're player 1, 2, 3, or 4. Alright, so first things first, let's jump into the Discover menu. So, after a little bit of playing around, I have pretty much confirmed that the OUYA has officially died. I heard about this a few months ago, and I actually turned on my OUYA and looked around to see if it was true, see if there was still things on the OUYA, what you could do, things like that. And even though it was reported that the servers were already down, I was still able to go to the Discover tab here, which is not an option now, but I was able to go onto there, download all the games and stuff that I wanted. So now you can't do that, which is really sad, because as much as people complained about the OUYA, I enjoyed it. So I did go on here and download a whole lot of games because of the rumor that it was going to be that it was going to get all shut down. And there was actually some really good games on here. I'm not gonna lie. We'll start with Puddle. Yeah, see how I have the little mouse pointer on the screen? That's that whole thing that I was talking about earlier. And I feel like that was pretty awesome for a console that came out at, I believe it was $99. So this is all kind of a physics run here. Just kind of a liquid physics type thing. Man, coming down this, it really looks like poop. And there you go. Our thing is not to necessarily go through the games, but just to see the overall condition of OUYA. It does make me legitimately sad though that the OUYA servers are 100% down. But Towerfall was probably the greatest game that came from the OUYA. I know it made its way over to PS4 and I don't know how many other platforms, but I believe it was originally like an OUYA exclusive. And oh man, it was such a fantastic game. I never learned the controls. Me and I had a I had a group of friends. I have three OUYA controllers actually. So I have three OUYA controllers, and I would have some friends over, and we would basically spend the entire night playing Towerfall. And so we would have a time when somebody new would come over, and they'd be like, "Okay, well, what are the controls?" And literally everybody at the same time would always be like, "I don't know. You just play." Well, how do you play? You don't know the controls. We just do it. So, the whole thing behind the OUYA, it was supposed to be this great console. It was hyped up. It came from Kickstarter. It was a Kickstarter funded console. And I don't think the intention was ever for it to rival the big three. But it was an alternative for, honestly, it was marketed to people like me at the time. You know, you love playing video games. You don't necessarily have to have the AAA high graphics, games. You just want good games that have good. You just wanted good games that had good gameplay, and you wanted to be able to have either full games that were free, or you wanted to have games that you could try for free, or some aspect of free. And that really rang with me, and it really made me want to buy into this console, and made me believe in what they said they wanted to accomplish. What we ended up getting was that tiny cube that I showed you, that it's basically cell phone hardware. And what we got for majority of games was basically ports of mobile games. I'm not going to say that it was all bad because there was some good stuff on here. At one point in time, I had a Nintendo 64 emulator, and if I could have worked something out on controls, then I don't know, maybe from the little bit of Legend of Zelda that I got to play on my OUYA through Lupin 64 emulator, it seemed to run pretty well. And if you guys know anything about emulation, you know that Nintendo 64 is a very difficult console to emulate, even on pretty expensive rigs. But if you can look through, go into the system, you can easily see, say, Ethernet, Bluetooth. You can see very easily that this was, I mean, it's Android. Look, it's even got Android logo. I mean, if you have an Android phone, then you know. It even, look, screen lock sounds, touch sounds. It still has majority of the phone things. It has majority of phone options still in it. Hey, this console hasn't been plugged up in probably 6 months, and it still has the date. And hold on. It even has the proper time. Wow. I don't. Maybe there's something that can be done to where you can still find life out of your OUYA. Maybe there is a Play Store or something, some kind of app store that it's like I guess like a bootleg app store for it. But I still have these games. A lot of them I literally went through and just downloaded a shit ton of games that I even considered I would want to play later on, just because of I heard of the whole thing happening of OUYA store going to shut down. So this video isn't a gameplay video as much as I wanted to start a discussion with this video, is honestly more of what I wanted. I wanted to know if maybe you bought into the whole idea of the OUYA, or did did you know the OUYA was going to flop? Did you want the OUYA to succeed? I mean, what was your opinion of it? I know a lot of these you know, dumb games like this, I had a lot of fun with them. The OUYA was definitely something that my friends and I had a lot of fun with, just because they were just dumb little games that you could play with your friends. Cause I mean, majority of the games that are on here are games that are couch co-op. I don't think there was any kind of online gameplay. I don't think that was a thing. I don't think that was a thing on the OUYA, was online play. I don't know. Maybe it was. I'm not exactly sure how far the infrastructure of OUYA was. And honestly and truly, there was some games on OUYA. I think this may be one of them that it's capable of probably PS2 level of graphics. See, like this? This looks pretty good, I feel. I mean, I definitely don't think that this looks bad. Oh. Uh-oh, I don't know what happened. Okay. That is one thing that I will... It's kind of bad on my part, but it's because I was young, and this is what gave me hope, because I felt like the company really wanted this to work. Company, I don't know if it was a company or if it was a single person. I'm not exactly sure how the whole OUYA thing came about. I don't know a huge bit on it. But so when I bought my OUYA originally, you know, you get the console, you get one controller, and I had an issue where one of my controllers liked to randomly turn off completely by itself. And as you've seen, I think that may be the controller that I'm using right now. But I emailed OUYA, I emailed their support, and told them about the issue that I was having, and they said, okay, no problem. We'll send you a new controller. Just send the old one back. And me being, I don't know, a 17, 18-year-old kid at the time, I got one in the mail, opened it, started using it. It seemed to work just fine. And I was like, you know what? There's this cheap ass console. I'm having these issues, and they're still wanting like $55 a piece for these controllers. No, this not gonna happen. I'm not sending this one back, which I should have. That was wrong. I shouldn't have kept my controller. But anyway, like a week after my new controller arrived, another one arrived. So I ended up getting two more OUYA controllers for free, and didn't send my old one back. So I ended up with three controllers, and so I ended up with two extra controllers for free. I believe. I don't think I may have bought one of them, but I don't remember that. I think I received both of those for free from the complaint of my original one not working. So I'm assuming with the way that they handled it and the way that they came back with it, A, they probably had been having the problem a whole lot, and B, they was they probably legitimately wanted the people that bought the console to be happy. I mean, no, $100 is not a whole lot of money, but when you are somebody that's coming into an industry, a very large and growing by leaps and bounds industry. Yeah, this came out the same era of the Xbox 360 and the PS3. So this is when console wars were fucking raging as hard as they probably ever raged in video games. Or at least in, the 20 years that I've been around, I'm 25 now. Of course, I don't remember the first 5 years of life. But in the last 20 years, I don't know of the console wars ever being more cutthroat and being as hostile as it was during the PS3, Xbox 360, and Nintendo Wii time. Granted, Nintendo was just kind of over in the corner eating on some fucking glue or something. They wasn't no part of it. But you had Xbox, or you had Microsoft and Sony with the PlayStation and the Xbox. You had them feuding, like feuding hard. They were, maybe not necessarily the company so much, but the people that played the consoles. It was by every definition that was the console wars. That was the peak of console wars. And then you had whoever it was that came out with the OUYA. They just kind of like, hey guys, these guys are bitching and complaining and nobody knows what's going on. You got some exclusives and whatever else, and the console's $600 and the games are $60 a piece. So before you can start enjoying yourself, you've spent almost $1,000 because you got to buy some games because they don't come with your console, and you got to buy a second controller. Da 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 da. Here you go. We'll throw this out here. It's $99 for a console and a controller. Granted, yeah, you have to buy a second controller because it only comes with one. But single controller consoles is kind of an industry standard right now. So still, for under $200, you can have 2 controllers, you can have a console, and you can start playing games because the games are fucking free. And at the time, that just seemed like such a wild concept to me, and it was amazing. I got sucked right into it. Of course, the games were only free for whatever it was, and then you started looking at the store, and it was like, oh, you got to pay for this game. This game costs this. So they started derailing kind of immediately once they launched. But then they came back and they said, okay, these games, all games are not going to be free, of course. The people that are making games are going to have to make money off of them, or they can't continue making games. And, everybody just kind of collectively drawed back, and they was like, oh, that makes sense. Of course you have to pay developers money. And then it was like, but it's, we came to a conclusion with our developers of these games on our platform that the first level is going to be free, or you can play it for a couple of hours for free, whatever it may be. And so they didn't stick to exactly what they was going to say, but of course there's no way to stick to games 100% free, which they never said games 100% free. But it was still great to see, or it was great to have a company that it felt like they really cared. It felt like they cared about the games and the people playing the games more than they cared about their wallets and their credit cards. So it was a new feeling, and I went along for that ride. I'm not gonna say I'm displeased. I'm not gonna say I was pleased. I mean, I was just along for the ride, and I'm one of those people that I really do. I appreciate when somebody small comes in and tries to just throw a right hook from, out somewhere to the big guys. I love it when, because look, we had you had the big rivalry when the original PlayStation launched. There was, Nintendo and Sony was going at it, and then the next gen you had Sony and Microsoft going at it, and you had, you know, you had Sony with the PlayStation 2, and you had Microsoft jumping into the ring with the Xbox. I don't know what Nintendo was doing. Did they even have? Oh yeah, of course. I own one of these, so how could I forget? You had Nintendo with the GameCube. I mean, so in my lifetime, there's only really been three companies putting out consoles: Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. That's it. There really hasn't been anybody else that's even tried to rival them. That's why I believe it was last year or something when there was that big thing coming about Atari was going to enter the market. Atari was throwing out a new console, which obviously didn't fucking happen. But you know how ecstatic I was about Atari jumping back into the ring? I mean, competition breeds innovation. And right now, Nintendo's doing their own thing. My honest opinion, Nintendo is not in the console wars because they are on a whole different genre. They're with a whole different audience of gamers. Honestly, for the most part, Nintendo's not on the same scale, and they're not. It's not a bad thing. Nintendo is just not going for the same audience that Sony and Microsoft are. So right now, honestly, as far as like console wars are going, I know there's really no console wars. It's just preference. But I'll use console wars for the sake of the argument. Right now, as far as the console wars go, it's basically between Sony and Microsoft. And granted, this is all my opinion. But so, if you can have somebody else jump in there, because they're just barely doing enough to outdo the other one. Look at PS5 and Xbox Series X specs right now. From what I've personally seen, they seem to be specking out really similar. So, if there was another company that would come in right now on this coming generation that's going to release this holiday season, if you had another competitor come in and just jump on it and just bam, hey, look, we got a new console, we're throwing our hats into the ring, it would shake up the entire industry. Because what, three generations now, it's just kind of been the same people. The OUYA is the only thing that I've really seen that's tried to, and they wasn't even necessarily trying to compete with them. I feel like the OUYA was more of a competitor to more along the lines of Nintendo. It was going for a similar audience, not necessarily the same audience, but a similar one. The people that don't have, that they're not serious, they're, I'm trying to say this without getting myself in trouble, but the OUYA was not going for the people that are gonna be gaming every day, 5+ hours a day. It's just for people that they went to work, they coming home from work, and they want entertainment that's not television for a few hours. because and that I mean that was where I was at the time, I believe. Except I was going to school. I was going to school, had football practice. I would come home and I had maybe 2 to 3 hours of free time. So it was come home, play games for an hour or two, eat dinner, go to bed. So of course I wasn't I wasn't gaming all day every day. I played games when I could, and the Ouya kind of offered something in that category where it was just fun, pick up really quick games, and you didn't necessarily have to. It wasn't just say a game like Skyrim where Skyrim, Fallout, any open world games like that. I honestly feel like if you don't have between 2 to 7 hours to sit down, there's no point in even turning it on. I mean, that's just how I feel about those kinds of games. And don't get me wrong, I love those kinds of games. But it's difficult to play those when you don't have hours upon hours to spend on them. But like I said earlier, this isn't necessarily a review on the Ouya or anything like that. I was just hoping maybe we could go in, see the state of the Ouya, start up a topic of discussion. I mean, hit me up in the comments below. Was you did you get in on the Ouya train? You know, did you fund it on Kickstarter? Because honestly, still right now, even though the Ouya was technically a failure and it flopped and whatever else, I still wish I would have caught on to the Ouya early enough to where I could have funded it and I could have got one of those. They had the collector edition, all clear. I would love to have one of those. I mean, even if I could find a broken one right now, I would probably buy it just to put on a shelf. So, anyway, that's kind of my opinion on the Ouya. Let me know your opinion, and if you want me to do more videos like this, I can definitely do more videos like this. As far as the Ouya, if you have a Ouya that has games on it, you can still enjoy playing it. But unfortunately, for those of you that wasn't on the Ouya train, it's too late. It's the Ouya has left the station, and it's never coming back. And for that, I honestly am a bit saddened because it gave me lots of good memories. It really did. So, I'm probably going to play around with the Ouya a little bit more, see if there is anything else that you can do with it. See if maybe there is a homebrew store. I know a lot of people have talked, I even talked about it a little bit earlier in the video, that a lot of people used OUYA for emulation, but it really doesn't have the horsepower and stuff to emulate very well. I mean, a $65 Raspberry Pi is going to be so much stronger in emulation than a OUYA is. So, if I find any other things that I can do with it, I'll come back and I'll make some update videos and kind of show you if there's anything else that you can do with the OUYA 2020 and beyond. So, like, comment, subscribe, do all those cool things. Especially comment. I would love to know y'all's opinion on the OUYA. It was a huge leap of faith, and a possible revolution in gaming. So let me know your feelings on it. Let me know if you like videos like this of me just kind of discussing the way I feel on certain topics, because I'm really just trying to find my niche, whatever. I'm trying to find my place in YouTube and what kind of videos that I can make. I mean, I enjoy a wide variety of things, and as you can tell, I'm getting a whole lot more comfortable talking to the camera. At first, it really felt like I was talking to myself, but now it feels like I'm talking to an audience, even though I haven't found my audience yet. And maybe you can help with that. Go check out some of my other videos and share them with your friends. Whatever else, if you don't, that's fine too. I'm making videos for the love of it. And yeah, just let me know how you feel. And if you made it this far, then I'm sure you'll check out some of my other videos. But I'll be back before long with even more content. So love you guys, and I'll see y'all next time.